Hey there guys, welcome back to my channel. Sorry this video is going up so late today. I have filmed this video 3 times in the past couple days and have had so many issues with it. I had blurry footage, I had missing footage, corrupt footage, all that fun stuff that comes along with making videos. So sorry this video is a little bit late today, but rather it be late than nothing at all. So as you guys can probably tell, I'm going to be doing a marker collection video for you today. I'm going to show you all the types of different markers that I have and tell you what I like about each one and a little bit of information about each type. I'm going to try to make this quick, but it probably won't be, just to let you know. But this was definitely the most requested thing that I had mentioned in my studio tour a couple weeks ago. So yeah, I guess I will just get started showing you the top shelves of the marker collection, and then I will move on from there. Before I start, I wanted to talk about my shelves. I mentioned this briefly in my studio tour, but I thought I would mention it again. The white shelves that are on this side, these 4, as well as this little one, were made by a website called organizemore.com. They make like custom DIY crafting supplies shelves, and they have a selection of marker storage shelves, and they're really nice. They're made of wood, and yeah, they're pretty great. I've had the bottom 2 for probably 5 or 6 years. The top 2 are newer, as well as the little one on the left. They're definitely worth checking out if you're looking for some sturdy marker storage that will last you a long time. And I'll leave a link down below to their website so you can check those out for yourself if you're interested. These 2 shelves right here are milk crates. I got them from a local art store or craft store called Craft Warehouse. They're specific to the Pacific Northwest, so I'm not sure if you'll be able to find them somewhere, but your local craft store may have something similar. But they're just basic milk crates. They have like little handles on the side, and they're just made of wood, and they hold markers really well. As you can see, they hold a ton of markers. They definitely hold more than these shelves do. I like them a lot. So I won't be able to include a link to these since they are from a local store, but it's an idea of something to put your markers in if you're looking for a storage solution. So these 2 shelves right here have my Copic marker collection as well as my multi-liner collection. I have a whole video showing my Copic marker collection, which I will link down below as well as on the screen. So if you're interested in seeing my Copics, you can check out that video. So I'm not going to talk about them too much here. I will say that I do have all 358 colors. I also have the anniversary set that came with the black barrels, because I've been asked sometimes in my videos, why do my Copics have black barrels? They're from the 25th anniversary set, which has a bullet nib and a brush nib. Then they were pretty cool. I don't have any new Copic colors to show since I posted my Copic collection, since Copic hasn't released any new colors since like 2014, when that collection that had like pistachio and jasper came out. I really wish they'd release some more colors because I'd like to buy some more Copics. So anyway, if you'd like to see my Copic collection, you can check out the video that I've linked down below. And now I'm going to move on to the rest of my markers. So I'm going to start with the shelf on the top right. On the top I have my Blick Studio markers. This is the full set, whatever the amount is that you can buy on the Blick website. I bought them when they first came out, when you could still use coupons on them, so I got a really good deal on them. Yeah, I like these a lot. They have a chisel tip and a brush nib, and yeah, I think a lot of people know about these. They're a pretty good alternative to Copic markers, probably one of the best that I've used. So yeah, and they're pretty cheap, and you can buy them individually as well as in set. And what's not on the shelf are actually these. These are the new Blick Illustrator markers. These just were released a couple weeks ago, and I saw them at Blick when I was there and grabbed a set. I think the set was like $18 or something for 24, which is a pretty good deal. They have a chisel nib and a brush nib, but they only come in these colors, so hopefully they're planning on expanding the color range, because I actually quite like these, and I'm going to be doing a video about them really soon too. So down below on the same shelf there is a small collection of the Shinhan Art touch brush markers. These are super hard to find now. I used to be able to get them at Craft Warehouse, my local craft store, but they don't sell them there anymore. And I'm sure you can probably find them online, but I haven't had a need to look for them. But they're pretty nice. They're another good alternative to Copic markers. They have a chisel tip and a brush nib, and they come in a really large selection of colors, which I do like. These are only a small selection of the colors that I picked up to try out, but I definitely like those and do go for them quite often. And so down on these last little shelves, these right here, I only have a couple of these. I have some more on another shelf, but these are the Ecoline brush pens. They're like watercolor markers, and they're meant to go along with the Ecoline liquid watercolors. I have some blue ones as well, but they're on a different shelf because they won't fit here. I also have the Winsor & Newton pigment markers. This is just the skin tone set that they released. I didn't find myself liking these markers too much, so that's why I never bought any more of them. And on the shelf below, I have some Posca paint pens and some white gel pens, and then the Chameleon marker liner pens that came with my set. There's some Prismacolor brush pens right here, so I'm going to go over here and talk about my Prismacolors. This is my Prismacolor marker collection. Prismacolor markers were the first type of art marker that I ever tried. A lot of these were purchased back when I graduated from high school because I bought myself a set of markers as a graduation present. So some of these, as you can see, are super old. Here's some really old packaging. So I bought these around 2005, and probably between 2005 and 2008 or so is when I was buying Prismacolors. I haven't bought any in a long time. This is definitely not the full color range, but I do still have some colors that I really like from the Prismacolor line, like the French grays are definitely my favorites because there is no Copic equivalent to the French gray, and they're just really pretty, so I have bought the brush version of the French grays. As I said, some of these are super old. Like, I'll show in a cutaway here that I have a couple that have the chisel tip and a fine tip, like a pen tip, and they definitely do not make those anymore. But the fine pen tip was replaced by a bullet nib eventually when I was buying them. So sitting over here on this little top shelf on top of my milk crates are my Winsor & Newton brush markers and pro markers. I definitely don't have the full collection of these. I do really like these and tend to pull from them to use a lot because they have some colors in them that Copic doesn't have, and I do quite like them. I even like the bullet nib on the pro marker. I actually quite prefer the pro marker over the brush marker, so if you're looking for a good bullet nib marker, I definitely recommend checking out the pro markers. They're really nice. So these markers right here were ones that I grabbed on an Amazon daily deal, and they are the Shuttle Art Markers. I just thought it would be fun to kind of try some, like, I guess off-brand or other brand kind of markers that I found. These were super cheap. They were less than $20 for the full set, and they have a bullet nib and a brush nib. I actually like these quite a bit. The ink is really nice and consistent in them. They do have a pretty limited color range though, so that's something to keep in mind, but I definitely think that grabbing a set like this is good for if you're starting to learn to color with markers and you don't want to make like a huge commitment like buying Copics or Prismacolors or something like that. They are definitely worth checking out. So these markers right here, there's kind of a jumble mix of different types. These ones on top right here, there's just 6 of them, but they are the Spectra Ad markers. I grabbed them at Hobby Lobby when I was there just to try something new out because I'd never seen them before, and I probably wouldn't see them again because the closest Hobby Lobby is about an hour-and-a-half drive, so 3 hours round trip. So I just grabbed them to try them out. I haven't actually tested them yet because that was really recent. So yeah, I can't really say much about those yet. And then these ones with the round ends on all of these shelves are the Viano markers. This is another set of markers that I grabbed on Amazon for a daily deal just to try out, and I actually quite like these. They do have a bullet nib and a brush nib. The color selection is pretty nice. They come with a pretty decent like skin tone range and lots of blues and pinks. There's definitely more grays in the set than I would prefer. Sets like this generally tend to have a lot of grays, but I do like having grays, but I feel like this is quite a bit for the amount of other colors that you got. But it definitely was a pretty interesting little set that I got there. And the color quality and consistency was a lot nicer than I expected it, so yeah, they're kind of nice to have for just messing around with. Now here, these are the Chart Pack AD or Ad markers. I have never used these before. They were on, or a couple of colors were on clearance on Blick, and so last time I placed my latest Blick order, I tossed a few in my cart because they were like $1. because I've always seen people using them and I wanted to try them out. I really like the way the colors lay down, but this way they smell is so intense that I actually can't use them because the smell is really, really, really strong and it bothers me a lot. So if you wanted to try those, just keep that in mind, and if you're sensitive to smell, I would definitely probably steer clear of those. And also on this top shelf, I have 3 of these markers. This is the Studio 71 brush marker. These are probably the closest to a Copic marker equivalent that I've ever found. They have a brush nib and a chisel tip. The brush nib is extremely similar to a Copic marker nib. It's a little bit stiffer, but I feel like when you use it, it will make the nib a lot more flexible. The full set is actually sold out from the shop I want to buy them from, and as soon as it comes back in stock, I'm going to buy the full set and then make a video about them because they're pretty affordable and I think that they would be a good alternative to buying Copic markers. So I thought I'd talk about this thing that's sitting on my desk before I go into the rest of the marker shelves. This is my set of the Tombow brush pens. I don't really use these for art. I use them more for like bullet journaling and doing calligraphy and stuff like that. But I also got this as an Amazon Prime daily deal, probably last year. And I really wanted these because I do use them for like writing and stuff. So yeah, that's why they're here, because they are markers still, but I don't use them for art. And here are the Zig clean color real brush pens. I did a video about these. I think it was my Over the Garden Wall video, which I'll link somewhere on the screen. These are like watercolor brush pens and they're pretty nice. I probably won't keep them on this shelf since I don't grab them too often. I'll probably put them in like a case or something, but for now they are here and I like those a lot. They're pretty nice. I have a set of the Spectra Aqua markers. I have actually not used these. They were given to me by a friend, but they are watercolor markers, which I don't have too much experience with, just with the clean color markers, which are the same type. So I can't really say much about these since I have not used them yet. These little markers right here are the Spectra Illustrator markers. I don't have very many of these, but they're actually quite nice. They come with a brush nib and a bullet nib, which is a pretty interesting combination. You usually see the brush and chisel or the bullet and chisel. You don't really see the two of those together. I purchased probably 1 or 2 sets at Michael's last year during holiday time. You can use coupons on these and they do sell them at Michael's, as I said. So you could get a 60% off coupon and use it and get these for like $10, which is a pretty good deal. The color consistency is really nice. The brush nib is a little bit stiff for my liking, but I do really like these and plan on getting more of them sometime. And speaking of Spectrum Noir pens, these are the Spectrum Noir just regular markers that have the chisel and bullet nibs. I recently bought these, which is why they're not on the shelves, but this is the vintage and nature sets. These are the 2 newest color sets from their line of markers. And I bought these just kind of on a whim because I had a coupon at Michael's on their website and I just grabbed them to try them out. And I really, really like them. The colors are so beautiful in these 2 sets. I actually was really bad and on Black Friday I bought the entire marker set for the Spectrum Noir line. And those will be here sometime soon. And I will be having an art supply haul in a couple weeks for you guys too. I definitely recommend them. They're pretty affordable, especially if you can find a way to use coupons to buy them. The only thing that I don't really like is you can only buy them in like sets, but the markers are refillable, which is something that is really important to me since I don't want to have to keep buying a pen over and over and over again. But yeah, these are refillable and they are pretty nice and I definitely recommend trying them out. So back to the marker shelves. These markers right here were kind of something I grabbed just to try out because I thought it was kind of fun. These are the Touch 5 twin markers. These are basically a, I guess, knockoff of the Shinhan Art Touch markers. These ones have a bullet nib instead of a brush nib, but they are basically the same markers. I want to say I bought this set on, it was either eBay or Amazon just to try them out, and they were pretty affordable, but I got a full set. I don't remember how many colors. I want to say it was like 120 maybe. I don't know, I didn't count them right now for this video, but the colors are basically the same. The only difference between them and the Shinhan Art ones are that there is no brush nib, which I don't care about because I am fine using a bullet nib or a brush nib. So that's always an alternative if you're looking to get like a large set of markers and you want to just try something out with also not making a huge financial commitment to them. You can always grab a set like this that's kind of like a knockoff to try them out and get comfortable with them to see if markers are your thing. These little markers on these shelves are the Nouveau markers by Tonique Studios. Whoops. I don't remember where I ended up getting these from. I want to say I bought them from Uzak and they were on clearance, and I just thought that the packaging was kind of cool, so I wanted to try them out. They have a bullet nib and a chisel tip. The color selection is pretty limited, but they have some pretty colors in there, and they're pretty fun to use. I mainly use them for, like, testing out colors and doing quick sketches and things like that. These little round-ended markers are the hashtag coloring markers. I grabbed these at Michael's last Black Friday. The sets were $5 each, so there's 5 markers in each set, so they were pretty affordable at $1 each. These are mainly used for coloring in coloring books, I believe, and I've never colored in them colored in a coloring book with them, but I've used them for like little demo pieces and things that I'm trying to figure out colors for. And the ink consistency is pretty nice, but the color selection is pretty much just this. It's very limited, but if you're looking for some cheap markers, and you can get them locally at Michael's, they're pretty nice. So the rest of these markers are my Art and Fly markers. This is the full 48 set of the bullet nibbed markers and the skin tone set. I really like the Art and Fly markers. The color quality is really good, the color selection is really good, they're refillable, which is a huge plus. These are the bullet nib version, as I said. On Black Friday, they had a flash sale on their Facebook page with a pretty steep discount for the 48 set of the brush marker version of the same markers, so I grabbed the full 48 set of that as well as the skin tone set, and I'm hoping to do a video on these ones since I like the brush tips so much. I'm sure that these ones are going to be just as nice since it is the same ink quality, it just has a brush nib instead of a bullet nib. Alright, so this is the last little set of markers on my marker shelves. These are the Kuretake Kure color markers. They have a bullet nib and a chisel tip. They are refillable, which is awesome. And besides the Spectrum Noir markers, these are definitely my favorite of the bullet nib markers that I own. The only problem I have with these particular markers is that there's a pretty big discrepancy between the color on the cap and the color of the marker itself. That doesn't generally tend to bother me since I always swatch my markers out before I use them anyway, or I keep them on like a swatch card. But if that's something that bothers you, please keep that in mind if you want to try these out. I found these on Marker Supply. I'll leave them linked down below. They were pretty reasonably priced. I think they're like $1.55 each, or they were when I bought them, so that's really, really cheap, especially for markers that are refillable. And I do quite like the color selection. It's very interesting types of colors that are included in this range of markers, and I do really like these a lot. And hopefully I'll be getting some more sometime soon. Okay guys, so that is it for my marker collection. Thank you guys for sticking with me until the end of the video. I've had a few requests from people to do like swatching videos of my marker collection so people could see what colors are included in what sets. Is that something you guys would be interested in? Like just kind of casual chatty videos where I'm just like swatching marker colors from specific brands? I thought that might be kind of something that would be fun to do. If that's something you'd like to see, you can let me know in the comments down below. You can also let me know what markers you'd like to see me use in my next couple videos, since I'm always interested in hearing what you guys would like to see. I know people want to see the Blick Studio markers and the Illustrator markers since those are new, but if you saw anything that intrigued you, please feel free to let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget to turn on the notifications for my videos. If you haven't been being notified for them, you can click that little bell down next to the subscribe button and it'll notify you when I post a new video. Anywho, thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe and give my video a like. It helps to support me a lot, and I will see you guys next week for another video.